the relationship between art and photocopying in history. The first occurrences of artists using photocopiers are actually right at the beginning of when the machine came to the mass market in the 1960s. Artists were quite quick to respond and try and use this new tool and experiment with different ways of using it. And it occurred to me that it had been used in different ways by different generations of artists over the past sort of 40 years. And it would be interesting to kind of try and look at that subject and see what it revealed about the relationship between photocopying and art. And I also really like the idea of taking something as prosaic and everyday, mundane as a photocopier, a machine that we all have an experience of trying to use or using in our workplace, and kind of exploding that and looking at its sort of secret life within contemporary art. Certainly the artists are still using the copier, although it's a different type of machine these days. The technology now is such that it scans an image and takes a digital image of whatever is presented to the copier glass, and that's made before anything is printed, so it's not quite the same as the machines that the artists were using in the 1960s and 70s. Because it's such a kind of familiar kind of piece of equipment, and most people have, either in college or in their workplace, in their daily lives, had an experience of using a copier, and often I think people have discovered the same things that artists like Pati Hill discovered, that you can use it in ways that it wasn't intended to be used. I hope that people listening to the lecture kind of get some sense of this fascinating history that lies behind its use and misuse within contemporary art. It was actually via Richard Tochia, who contacted me not long after the Xerography exhibition in Colchester and told me about the exhibition that he was preparing with Pati Hill. And I wasn't aware of her work at the time. I mean, one of the ironies of doing an exhibition like this is you much later discover all the other people that you missed out. So I would never claim that it's a conclusive survey of copy art. Maybe if I'm still around in another 25 years, I'll be doing the centenary survey. But yeah, it was via Richard, and then basically this is the first encounter I've had in real life with her work. Everything I've seen up to now, up to today, has been via a Google Drive that the students here have been making, that they've been compiling and working with Richard. So it's quite something to see these photocopies in real life. There were interesting correlations with some of the artists that I'd studied for the exhibition I made in Colchester. But I think it stands on its own. It's a distinct and fascinating body of work. I think what comes across is her, from seeing the work in real life particularly, is how the machine that she was using behaves. She was using an IBM machine, not a Xerox machine, not a Canon machine. And I'd seen works, a lot of works in the exhibition that we had were made on Xerox or Canon. And there's something particular about the way in which the blacks sit on the black toner background sit on the paper, but also there was an image in the gallery I was just in of a shirt, to get one of the 6 photocopied garments, and the way in the detail that this IBM machine picks out from the shirt is quite something. It's not something that I've really seen. It's not, for instance, comparable to the work that Barbara T. Smith made on the 914, although okay, her machine was like 10 years, 12 years before that. So I think there's real technical appreciation with Pati Hill's work for what this machine can do, and she's constantly searching for new ways in which to kind of present that. I think from seeing the images or the photocopies face to face or in real life, rather than from the images, then maybe they have a different or more kind of they have a stiller quality to them than I had imagined. And maybe I've been looking at different images from that series that aren't in this exhibition, But I'm kind of surprised by how refined and perfect, in a way, these photocopied works are. A lot of work that I had in the exhibition, or not necessarily a lot, but many works that I had in the exhibition were made in a way to show the sort of glitching, or the things, or where the copier breaks down and can't read something, or tries to invent something that isn't there, or something like that. And Pati Hill's work seems to be a little bit more reverent to the machine, or at least, it doesn't have the same informality, I think, as some of the other copy work I've seen.